All right, good afternoon. The time being 5:30, I'll call to order the March 1st, 2022 meeting of the Tilton Northfield Fire and EMS Board of Commissioners. Let the record show that present is all three commissioners, Chief Setar, Administrative Manager Catherine Holbein, and Deputy Chief Joubert. First up, public comment, members of the district, employees of the district. Hearing none, seeing none. Correspondence 2020. Correspondence from Lisa Martin. That was at
February 17th.
February 17th.
She's requesting to be appointed to the building committee. She was
Was she on it before?
She was.
Okay. Is she the one that everyone thought she moved to Florida or something?
Yes.
Okay. But apparently that was a rumor?
Nope, she spends part of the time down there.
Oh, okay. Well, I know there was a request for more members, so I think we do that. I have no issue. Does anyone else have any discussion on it?
No, she was on the last team. She has engineering background. I think she'd be a great asset. The only concern is her limited amount of time she's up here because she's not living up here year round, but still she could be a great resource. And we could look at Zoom meetings for the in-betweens.
How does that work? Is she a resident of Northfield for half the year and a resident of somewhere else for half
Well,
the year?
she says that
Or is she considered a year-round resident? of
she's
Northfield?
considered a year-round resident because she's a snowbird.
Okay.
She's here from April to December.
Also, she's here more than half the year?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be my only concern.
Yep.
6 months in a day.
That's all that matters.
Exactly.
181 days, maybe. Probably one day. Any other comments on that? I'll make a motion to have Lisa Martin serve on the Fire Station Building Committee.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Abstentions? None. Motion passes. Correspondence from February 22nd, Tuesday, 2/2/2/22. Tnfd collections letter. That was given to us at the last.
Yeah, so there's not a copy of it in here, but
Yeah.
basically,
Oh, okay. Yep.
the
Water district.
the lawyer from the Tilton Northfield Water District has sent a letter to us stating that they're going to send us the collections, basically. The letter was forwarded to our attorney. That's as much as I know.
Okay.
It's in the hands of the attorney.
Yes.
And the fact that there was no contract in place and no obligation to them, I think it's a foolish step.
More money for the lawyers.
Yep.
Again, the lawyers are getting rich. All right, so we don't have to make any actions on that. So we are on to the chief's report.
Start off with the budget. The 2022 unassigned fund balance is $315,527, and that's estimated pending the final report of the auditors.
When's that take place?
The audit?
Yeah.
It's
The
already
audit's
done.
taken
That's already
place.
done.
They've
Yes.
done the preliminary stuff, and now they're taking all that crap back to their office, and we'll have correspondence with them back and forth with questions and stuff over the next month or so, but it should be finalized before district meeting.
So that's a significant drop from where it was at the end of 2020.
Yes, it is.
Well, by about a little over 300,000 if my math is correct.
That is correct.
So I'm sure we're gonna have to explain, I think I know the reason why it dropped, but I think we need to explain that to members of the district.
Okay, well, give me a moment and I
Yeah.
will tell you exactly why that is the way it is. Okay.
Whether it's, I know the biggest reason.
Well, what it was, there was $100,000 in there that was the non-lapsing warrant article
Yeah,
for the building that had to be deducted out because that's part of the unassigned fund balance. And then everything that was encumbered, which was $9,030 out of the operating budget, had to be deducted out. And then the auditors put in a reserve for contingency, which at that point in time was $201,502 to cover the water district liability. Of course, that has increased tremendously since then, but that's what brought it down to and those items totaled $310,532, which brought it down to the $315,527.
what about, weren't there other things at district meeting that were?
Yes, there's $44,368 for warrant articles for this district meeting to come out of the unassigned fund balance.
Yeah,
And if all of those pass, it'll bring it down to $271,159.
I have that on a PowerPoint slide for you guys, we'll get to that later.
okay. So, yeah, that's gonna be a huge, what is, I know there's, I don't know if it's our policy or the law or whatever, but we're supposed to have a certain amount in there.
We have a policy regarding that, and we
16
are,
point,
yes, and we are below that.
how far below that are
By about half.
Yes, half
we?
of
So
it.
at 627 roughly, we were.
At
okay.
627, we were okay.
We were
But
okay.
once we took out the non-lapsing warrant article, and the escrow, it was still okay. I mean, the encumbered. But when we popped in the reserve for contingency for the water district, it wiped us out, basically. Brought us down to half.
So are we gonna have to be concerned this year about TANs or anything like that for us?
No, we are not going to have to be concerned about that
Not this
because
year.
both Tilton and Northfield pay their portion of the budget.
Yep,
So,
It'll be the beginning of next year where we may have a concern.
right, because we won't have the funds to carry us over until, we're running into that now where Tim and I are communicating because Northfield pays quarterly, Tilton pays monthly, but Tilton hasn't paid anything yet this year. So Tim and I have been communicating to make sure that we're still on top of this so that we don't run into an issue.
yeah.
And as soon as, we get to that point, he's going to pop a payment in for us. And then, of course, at the end of March, once district meeting is over and I know how much is through taxation,
Yeah.
I can send a bill to both towns.
At first I thought you were talking about this Tim.
Oh, no, Tim Pearson,
Yeah,
sorry.
No, I got it.
So question, that reserve liability contingent's 201,000, so is that set aside in a fund?
No, it's in the unassigned fund balance, earmarked,
It's there, but we can't use it.
right.
So,
It's in the bank.
okay, so the fund balance of 315, that 200 is part of that, or in addition to
No,
that?
we've subtracted that out.
Okay, so what is the actual fund balance with that in there, even though that is locked aside separate?
Maybe 516,000 roughly.
It would be 201,000 more than what it
Yeah.
says, 516.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there was additional money.
There was the 100,000 non-lapsing and the 9,000.
No, I mean, in the
so,
201,000,
The 201,000
Yeah,
is
but
that's
that,
strictly
so-
for the
Is strictly,
lawsuit.
yes.
Right, but it's in the unassigned fund balance when the public's looking at this. It's present there, it's just not accessible.
Right, it's the same as the non-lapsing warrant article.
Right.
It's there, but it's not accessible.
Right.
Accessible. The encumbered funds are there, but they're not accessible because that's money all spoken for.
Right, but when someone asks from them, they're gonna ask about the unassigned fund balance, and it's 315, well, it's 517 is part of it, but we can't, part of that's because of the water district that hasn't been educated or whatever completely. So it's really more in there, because otherwise they're gonna be, well, where did all that money go, where's the 217? Because even when it was being explained here, I'm like, okay, is it utilized, has it not been utilized, and I know we didn't pay them, So it's confusing.
I think the auditor are setting us up for worst case scenario,
They
protecting
are,
us.
they're protecting
That's fine,
us.
it's the public information portion of it that I'm at the meeting, because I was confused by this. Other people, I'm sure, might get confused by this at the public meeting.
And another thing too is if the auditors hadn't have done this, we would have got nailed pretty badly with our audit, because having the water district funds, I had to put it in
Yep.
as an invoice. It made us over budget.
Let's say that again.
By having the water district bills in our budget, in our accounts
Accounting system.
payables, it made us over budget, even though,
Okay.
because we got the bills, they weren't paid, we
Mhm.
had no money to pay because we had, so
Okay.
this was a move to protect us all around.
Because theoretically, if the lawsuits and everything goes through and
Hopefully,
it's not needed,
Right.
then
That money will
theoretically
come
that
back.
money would come back. So
It'll-
that's the
it'll
reason
show
why we
back
kind
up.
of gotta be explaining that it's present, but it's temporarily locked up, but it's in there because,
It's untouchable
Right.
until further notice.
Right.
pending that, which is fine. It's just that
No.
and
you want to make sure that the public can understand that layman terms, because I was even confused as it's being explained
And
here.
we're still going to continue getting bills, and that contingency is going to grow.
Correct.
So does that mean you have to put more and more money into that account,
Or
into that amount?
you have
Yes.
That's one of the questions that we have with the auditors now, and we're waiting for an answer.
So for simple math, if they say, okay, we're gonna ding them with a $10,000 late fee, I'm just throwing a number out there, and now all of a sudden it's $211,000, we have to pull $211,000 into the, into that amount, thus
Well,
deducting,
yeah, it's going up more, because
They're
They
continuing to
did-
send us bills.
they're sending us bills, $30 late fees, and they're also charging us 15% interest. So, yeah.
on something that there's no contract for and that they shouldn't be billing us in the first place.
Right. They're, it's the old adage, you throw it against the wall and see what sticks.
well, they're trying to CYA, so
Right.
they're hoping that, okay, that if there's a judgment for them, they're just gonna say, oh, that's this and the 15%, I mean,
Right.
that's a lot of money.
They may be
That is
doing
a
this
lot
to
of
cover
money.
their books too.
They are,
on
I'm
their
sure.
audit.
I mean, is it 15% per month?
Yeah.
No,
Year.
Per year, so it's
No.
really like 1.25% or 1.5%.
right.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, they hit us with $30,234.28 worth of interest for last year.
That'd be about 15%, so if it was $200,000.
So something we need to make sure we check into is if all this gets dismissed, we need to see if we can go after them for lawyer fees.
That's
It's already in
That's
Good.
already part of
Yeah,
us.
So-
I think that.
I just want to make sure that, because this is money that they're wasting with no contract, no right to the money, and they're continually wasting
And we still have no,
money.
and we still have no contract.
we still have no contract. Yeah.
There's lots of lawyer bills, that's about it.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, moving on.
Sure, we beat that horse, I just wanted to make sure we all understood it.
All righty. Total amount in the apparatus and equipment fund through yesterday is $498,387.50. 2022 ambulance revenue through February is $101,375.68, which is $7,339.50 more than what we were last year at the same time.
What is this? I gotta ask a question, because I'm doing math in my head. We do like $400,000 a year, but yet in the first 2 months, we've done 100,000.
Well, last year we did almost 5 1/4.
All right, yeah, that's true, okay.
I'll show you something.
No, I
later on, too.
forgot that we did over 500.
Yeah.
I had 400 in my head, and I'm doing all right. Okay, that's 2 months, that's 50 grand a month, that should be $600,000, or what I'm thinking in my head, but maybe it will be, who knows? What was it, 530?
523.
We're on par for another record year.
Anyways, we the 2021 books are closed. We spent 93.3% of the operating budget in 2021. The audit was conducted the week of February 9th, and we're waiting for the final report, so, but we have the preliminary numbers, which are, they change a little bit.
And that questionnaire got submitted, right? Whatever they asked, that questionnaire.
Of course it did.
Okay.
Yeah, we had,
Taken care of.
we had Kathy, myself, and the auditors, we had a lengthy discussion with the water district during that week, so,
It's quite an interesting discussion.
yes, it was.
Probably a good thing I wasn't around.
Well, it was just, it was mostly just to make sure that,
That's why we ended up having that contingency.
yes, so, it
So
was a good idea, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
So they're just preparing for worst case, I mean.
Yes,
Yes.
we have to prepare for worst case.
Moving on, unless there's any more questions?
Question, the 6.7% that wasn't expended, is that encumbered or is it not being utilized?
It was in the unassigned fund balance.
Okay, so it wasn't utilized, it went back to the other fund.
Yeah, it
Okay.
went into the unassigned fund balance.
Okay. And did we cover our legal fees from last year already?
Yes, all our legal fees are paid,
Up to date?
up to date. Unless, we ever get any new bills lately?
We have received one this year, but it had to do with this year.
Yeah, so,
For the same case or for
Of
other?
course.
Okay.
So we closed out last year's legal bills off of last year's.
Right.
Excellent, nice.
Any idea what we spent?
Off the top of my head, no, but it was like something around, what, 16,000?
1.6?
1.6, but
I thought it was 17, but I could
I'll
have.
check. It might be.
It's still,
Wow.
Money, we spent money.
Yeah, I thought it was 17, almost 18, but
What was
I can
the,
tell you in a moment.
what was the bill for this year? How much?
$300 or $400.
Yeah, that's all.
It's don't change so far.
Exactly.
Is he coming to district meeting again this year?
Yes.
Yes.
still not there, over 75,000.
No,
Oh,
it's the interest charge.
legal expense, we were both wrong, chief, $19,312.
Okay.
That's the interest. Sorry.
All right. Moving forward, fire prevention report. There's 38 fire prevention inspections for the month of February. That report is included in your handout. The run report for February of 2022. We had 171 incidents last month. 129 of them were EMS in nature, equating to 74% of our total incident volume for the month. The engine responded 46 times with the ambulance to EMS MVA calls. Any questions on any of that stuff?
When you have MVAs, do the command personnel go as well?
Sometimes.
Okay.
What do you mean by command personnel? Just for
Like the
the,
deputy or the chief or someone like that, so it frees up a firefighter to be actually working rather than incident command. Now, is it based on the severity or is it based
Yes.
on availability?
On severity usually,
Okay,
how we get the call.
okay.
I would actually kind of say both as well. If there's multiple calls going on, obviously, if it's in a parking lot, it's probably not going to be that big deal versus on a, so case by case, really.
the car overturned on 93, you're gonna have more.
Yes. All right. Overlapping calls. We had 70 overlapping calls last month, equating to 41% of all the calls for the month.
January was higher than that, wasn't it?
Yes, it was 64% in January. We received 2 mutual aid ambulance responses. Both of them were transports. We responded with our ambulance 5 times to mutual aid requests. We received 1 engine mutual aid, and we responded with an engine 6 times.
It feels like the tides have turned now where we're giving more instead of receiving more.
This is where we should collect.
If we transport, yes.
No, I mean,
On those
you know,
five
for
mutual
paramedic
aid.
or something like that, yes, that's what they used to do when we didn't have any. And I know we agreed on.
The 5 mutual aid, how many times have we transported?
I couldn't figure that out without going into the census reports. So I didn't check. And mind you, I couldn't do this until this morning, and it was,
Gotcha.
I get a lot of, we still having issues, differences, never mind. Just growing pains. Apparatus, so engine 2, they've decided to order a brand new set of on-spot system for engine 2, and it will be installed when they show up.
Is that no cost to us?
No cost to us. Their fault, their problem. The repairs to engine 3 have been completed.
That was the bumper.
The front end, yeah. The new A2 is scheduled for late March, early April delivery. I believe last I talked to the rep, it was scheduled to leave Ohio on March 7th, where it's made. The new engine 1 chassis inspection, which will be in Ohio, is going to be in June. We don't know the exact date yet. We'll finalize it when it gets closer. And then once the chassis is shipped to Pennsylvania and they put the body on the chassis and get it all ready for the final inspection is expected in late July currently. Any questions on that?
Yeah, a couple. On the apparatus, didn't we make agreement to pay on delivery,
The engine,
or
the ambulance is COD, the engine's paid up front.
okay, so the money for the ambulance is in the apparatus fund, set aside,
Yes,
kind of
it's-
like the other one? Okay. All right, so total apparatus and equipment fund is $498 before or after the ambulance?
With approximately 280, 85,000, somewhere in that range will be taken out of that.
Okay, so that is the before the ambulance deduction.
That's correct.
Okay, just numbers on that part. On spots, they probably just got shorter arms, or,
I don't know exactly, they said they ordered a whole new system because whatever they had engineered originally, once they made the adjustments, it wasn't working.
okay. And it has many major problems this year, not having the on spots?
Haven't had any issues.
I mean, we've had very slow snow. We haven't had much yet.
We haven't had any issues. That truck is also equipped with the a posi in the rear end where you can lock up the rear end so it both wheels will drive the truck at the same time.
Instead of one starting and then the other catching.
Yep. COVID-19, still EMS-wise operating under the revised state COVID EMS protocols. Those have not changed. We'll still keep the front door locked and we still have entry protocols in place. Employees do not have to wear masks anymore unless they've been exposed. The Gopher grant, as you know, I've told you, has been approved. The UV lights have been delivered and are in service, and the new ventilators are expected within 30 days to be delivered. And once they're delivered, we'll receive new training for those pieces of equipment before we place them in service. Questions on that? Okay, Center Street Station, I'm still going at trying to find a different way to get internet backup. It looks like it's probably going to be cellular because the fiber, although the budget committee agreed with going with fiber, the estimate was wrong that they gave me, which was $100 short a month than what they gave me. So instead of, around $300 a month, it was $400 and change, and that wasn't budgeted for, so.
Fiber, it's Well, the price is there, but how close is it to the station right now? Main Street?
Yeah, it's,
Okay.
it's right there,
In Park Street, it's right there at the front of the apron?
yes.
Yeah.
So, well, fiber in front of Park Street was brought down the street to service the new cell tower that's gonna go up.
But, so accessibility, anything at Park Street, it's at the front of the ramp?
It's there.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
On Park Street, the bathroom project is much further along than it was, and so it's just a slow process. The fire department radio system, additional parts for the tower have arrived. The emergency generator's here. The foundation was finalized. There's going to be 3 5-foot diameter caissons that they're going to put in the ground. And it looks like the construction will start this month. The shelter has been completed and is sitting in somebody's yard, not here. We don't want it here until we're ready for it. Be just in the way. Did file a grant to working with Lakes Region and Tilton PD to enhance our system. That grant is been submitted and it's been accepted, but the grading for the grants have not taken place because the Department of Homeland Security for the state had a bunch of people leave, and they've been scattering, so the grant grade review process will not take place for a period of time now. I was appointed to that review process committee, so I will be able to see how other folks do. I will not be able to grade our own grant, though. It would be a conflict of interest. Safer effect, none of that stuff has really changed. Personnel, 3 call applications are still under review. Also Theodore Partington, Travis Gosing, Ryan O'Hara, and Zachary Marcoux have all been removed from probationary status. I think we only have one on probationary status, Tyler. He's the only one left right now. And
That's
current-
correct.
Yep, currently working on still the dry hydrants and cistern locations. We did receive the reimbursement for the 4th quarter of the SAFER grant, and at the end of March I'll be doing another reimbursement request for the 1st quarter of this year. Still pending hearing on the grant request for the new large diameter hose. We're still working on implementing the new records management system. Now it is up and fully operational, getting reports out of it. We get reports out of it, but the numbers don't always match what's actually in the system. So it's an education process of making sure that people input things correctly so that when you ask for certain things, it comes out. You don't, the report will be there, but when I do a general report request, if they didn't check or write a few things properly, it doesn't come out in the printout.
Such as the equipment response?
No, it's other things. Say it's an EMS call and they don't do an MFRS report on it. Well, it's still in the system, but if they don't do an MFRS report, when I ask for all the incidents for the month, it doesn't show up. It still has an incident number, the documentation's still there, the state's happy with it because the medical portions of it's completed, but the numbers don't quite match. And so this is just a process that we're going through to make sure everybody's doing the reports and filling all the information properly and checking the right boxes so that everything shows up.
Couple of questions on that. Does that allow like a personnel response report?
I haven't built that yet. I'm
But
still working on it.
It does allow that, so that, because theoretically,
Theoretically, it should, yeah.
They're getting entered, I know that much.
They are getting into it.
okay, so eventually it's building the report.
Yeah, we're building the wheel, let's put it that way.
Starting
With this program.
From the hub.
Yeah.
Yep, because looking at your reports last month, I mean, I'm sure you guys were busier than you were, but you went to 3 calls and definitely only went to 7. Okay,
That's
weak
not
on yours.
true.
That's what's reported, and if it's not documented, it didn't happen, is what I was always told in the EMS.
Well, that is true.
That's why we keep asking, so. Only 7? Really?
Well, here's a question, here's a question, just to build off of what you just said. If you respond as 21A1,
Yeah, it won't show.
It won't show.
Right.
So-
I'm only basing it on cars, correct.
right, so.
But how often do you respond in an ambulance or an engine?
Not that often.
How many times last month? If it's
Last
at-
month, probably none.
Okay, so it would be 3. Now,
Maybe once.
You jump in an ambulance or an engine occasionally?
Yes.
Ballpark, what, ballpark you
I would say
think?
last month, probably, it was busy, probably 5 or 6 times at least.
Now you're getting close to your normal number.
Yeah, I guess you'd have to do, if you're just
Well,
specific
you
about the chief and I, there's gotta be a way to draw that out somehow, but
Well, I mean, no, but it's, you know, you're obviously, if you're in the ambulance, that's not 21C1, it's 21A1.
Right.
You know,
I just know that at the public annual meeting, this is a topic that has come up in the past, and with us going for a new command vehicle, I'm willing to bet it would come up again saying, how often are you responding? Luckily, you respond more than the 7. But that's why I'm always on that of getting it entered and all that, so that they can show, because that is gonna be an argument. Every time we go for a command vehicle, how often is it being used in district and responding to incidents and things like that?
Sure.
well, let me ask
So
you-
one of the problems with this is when we had Firehouse.
Yeah.
Which is now, there was an interface between the CAD and Firehouse, so the incidents got
Yeah.
populated properly. the
Personnel.
Personnel,
Yeah.
response, vehicle response were all kind of like automatic.
Yeah.
Times were automatic. Now it's not, there's no connection between the CAD and image trend.
Mm-hmm.
Our CAD is defunct, and we've been trying to get a new CAD almost for 6 years now. We've gone through 2 companies, sued one because they left us, and one, but still we don't have a CAD. And the last CAD vendor we had was ready to go live, and they said, no, we gotta push it off, and then they said, no, we can't do it. You guys are too big for us.
is that
So
for-
now we're in a new CAD company search. And it's still gonna be probably another 2 years before we have a new CAD system which will be able to interface with image trend. So this is like it's a huge issue for us. It's a pain in the neck. And trying to check every single run for every little detail, especially the deputy and myself, when we're doing 12 million other things.
Well, that I'd expect more on a captain than you guys for that part of it.
So that's part of the thing that I said earlier, where we're trying to, it's a process of making sure everybody's checking the right boxes and stuff like that, so. And we're just plain busier all around lately.
Well, it's like, on the CAD, there's still a call from January that shows up.
Yes, so, and that's, they don't want to reset the CAD system that we currently have because it's a premise system and it's not supported. It's running, but we don't want to do anything to it.
I don't know how long it's gonna run for.
If it dies, we have to go to paper on the CAD.
So,
All the run cards are printed on paper, and it would be,
okay, so you have the paper, you have a paper backup to
yes,
everything.
yes.
So, right now, theoretically, you couldn't pull a report on how many firefighter X responded to last year. A digital report.
A digital report, I'd have to look into that, I don't know. I haven't tried, so.
Okay.
Can I ask?
And that would be in Firehouse, because we're only using image trend, started November 1st.
Right.
-ish.
But we still had Firehouse running November, December?
No, nothing was input into it,
Okay. Because you just
because
went right
we
hard
went
into
from
the other
this
one.
to this.
Okay.
Without, if we
Yeah.
were running both, you'd have to
Yep,
input everything.
dual entry in the waste of your time and your officer times. Yep. Okay, that's fair.
All right.
All that something.
Well, I was just concerned about, I see a lot of these things in here, station coverage, station coverage, da, da, da,
So
da.
station coverage is when a call person responds, that's how we document it.
Okay. There were some things in here that I've noticed. Do you need station coverage to cover, I mean, you got 4 guys on. You do where is it? There's a couple in here that I've noticed. There's one here, transfer to Franklin, or transfer. You got station coverage. Do you need 4, I mean, all 4 guys go to the call?
No.
No.
Well, you still got station coverage though.
So station coverage, the way our policy is right now, if we have any call whatsoever, any call person can come in and respond to the call or do station coverage. If I start limiting that, and when I had to do it 1 year because of budgetary things, it creates a disincentive for people to participate on an ongoing basis, and then you start losing call members, and then they stop showing up to almost anything. And so it's better for us to pay the call personnel for whenever they want to come in, they can come in and we'll pay them.
And I understand, I understand that. The trouble being is, you know, when you get called to let's say a cat in a tree, I'm gonna use that for an example, some lame call like that there, so you let station coverage come in, you let 5 guys come in to sit down the station when that happens. I mean, there are some incidents that, and I'm not saying you shouldn't have them,
So that's the risk of that policy. You know, there's pluses and minuses to the policy, but I think the benefits of allowing them to come in on any call outweigh the negatives of sometimes having to pay 2 or 3 guys for an hour paper when all they did is go to the station and, theoretically they could just sit at the table, but they're supposed to be doing stuff while they're there, washing an engine or checking, doing an inventory or something like that.
The other thing with station coverage, it's as you know, it's the standby for the next potential call.
Yeah, I understand, yeah,
And that's kind of why.
I understand. But there's also I'm saying there's gonna come a time in another year or 2, when we got 4 guys on there, and you know yourself, there might be get rid of a couple of them by then.
And I
If
think
we don't find ways to save.
So we have the Safer Committee that are looking at ways to help with that stuff.
And the downside to that is if you rely more on full-time and don't allow, then you go the way of Laconia and other departments where any call support is gone, and then when you need the bodies for a call, your full-time people aren't coming back, you don't have enough to do it.
I understand, yeah.
Because we've seen the other departments go that way many
Yeah,
times,
I
they
know.
just become more full-time dependent and the call force just tapers off.
Yeah, I understand, I know that.
Now, your station coverage, full-timers don't come back unless it's a callback, and that's only on significant.
Right.
That's what I figured, but, so they're not, and I figured that was the answer already, they're not part of the station coverage unless it's an significant callback.
That's right.
Only one other thing, I'm sorry, for the budget, and it's part of the manifest here, is I saw that we ordered 4 lengths of 1 3/4 hose, 4 lines, the red, yellow, blue, all that. Is that for the new engine, or? Okay, because again, we weren't able to fix the cross lays to adapt to the old size and new size.
So the crosslays and yes, we did adapt the crosslays.
So
the new hoses are for the new engine. There was, now both engines will be exactly the same, color-wise and everything else.
So what's happening to the cross lays we had on the hose of the engine that we're getting rid of?
Like engine 3, it's still on engine 3.
Right, so now when the new engine comes in, we still aren't able to
That'll be, the new hose, which is still in a box, haven't tested, it just showed up. So we didn't test it or anything yet. But that'll go on the new engine when it shows up. the current hose that's on engine 3 will become spare hose to be used when we have to wash the hose or use it to fire when it's drying and all that kind of stuff.
So how much is used 1 3/4 hose do you have
Altogether,
roughly spare right now? The spare stuff left
the
over?
spare stuff,
Because we essentially just spent $3,500 on new hose,
yeah, this is.
just for that. We couldn't have adapted the other hose onto the new engine?
It isn't the same because the flow characteristics of the new hose are meant to go with the flow characteristics of the nozzles that we're currently using.
The nozzles or the hose?
The flow characteristics of the hose match the current flow requirements of the nozzles and flow characteristics of what we want with. So we've changed from combination nozzles to
Mhm.
solid bore nozzles. The new hose is a little bit bigger than 1 3/4 when it fills up, and it achieves the gallons per minute that we're trying to get at the nozzle reaction that we're trying to get with that proper hose and the nozzles. We did a whole test of 10 million different brands of hose at the Fire Academy. We had 5 or 6 guys down there running the whole thing, trying to find the ideal hose for what we're doing. And this is what the men decided on, or everybody that was there decided on. And so that's what we went with. And this was all in the budget for the engines when we put the,
Right, it's in the budget, but still, it's $3,500 that if we didn't need to, we should have left in there for future use of something else. I mean, so we now have 2 engines that are set up for straight bore appliances,
yes.
and every appliance on there is straight bore?
No, there's a combination nozzle off the back.
One combination nozzle, okay. Are you planning on switching our whole fleet over to the straight bore?
No. So the ladder's set up the way it's going to be set up, the tanker's set up the way it's set up, we're not changing anything on those things. The 2 engines are set, the new engine's set up the way the firefighters want it, and the new engine will be set up exactly the same.
So if you go to a fire and you use this hose and it's off, we're going to be using old hose. Is it going to be less capable?
It'll be less efficient. It won't flow the same amount of gallons.
So theoretically,
Unless you increase the pressure, which is going to increase the nozzle reaction, which is going to make it harder to operate.
so theoretically, they go to a fire, they come back, they put spare hose on, fire wet hose dries, they're going to strip off all 4 crosslays and put that back on?
You could.
Well, I'm just saying that this is looking to me like money we didn't need to spend. If you're gonna run a truck until the next fire, 3 months later, when we change out the 4 lengths of hose,
Those
then-
hoses come off all the time.
okay, all four
So the
crosslays come off.
The crosslays on,
I think this is wasted money, is what I'm trying to say, is if the engine could have done it, is this wasted money from the apparatus one that could have been used for something down the road of support of other things?
well, you may think that, but we discussed this all when we were talking about 2 years ago, when we were talking about buying hose and everything for the new engine, and we had that discussion back then. It was all approved back then, and this is the outcome right now. Now it's,
Well, last engine that came in, we had to buy a crosslay because it wouldn't fit, because the diameter was different, or was that a different hose lay?
the last engine was, the hose
Was
that
it-
we ordered was what we wanted through that process, and when the engine came in, the crosslay was not what they said it was going to be, and that's why it didn't fit.
So did
So
they
we had-
fix that in this new
Yes.
engine?
They fixed it in the old engine, and they fixed it in the one that we're getting.
I think this was wasted money, I really do. That's I'm not comfortable signing that one, so you're gonna have one less signature on this manifest, because I think that's $3,500 of wasted money. You still have 2 signatures, so it's still good, but I will not sign that. I think that was wasted money of $3,500 that we could have used. Now, if you're telling me we don't have spare hose sitting around, then that's one thing. Okay, you only have 400, 500 feet, you don't have enough to re-equip an engine, that makes logical sense. But if we had enough to re-equip an engine already, now we're gonna have double that sitting around.
Well, tomorrow, when I come in, I'll count up how much spare hose we have, and I'll send you an email.
Well, we should have known that before we went and spent $3,500. We're already committed to it. That's the thing with these manifests, is we don't see them until after the fact. And I think that is $3,500 of wasted money to get a little bit better flow out of it. And we're only doing that on 2 engines. And you even said that we could still run it otherwise, because I don't think that you're gonna strip 4 crosslays off 3 days later when those hoses are dry. So you're gonna run the old hose. So if you're gonna run the old hose, run it and save the apparatus fund $3,500. I wasn't around 2 years ago to be very expressive of that. This would have been done before me.
This was done when we debated purchasing engine 2, which was, I forget whatever calendar year it was, what year.
I think that you could have reused the hose and saved $3,500 in the apparatus fund that could have been used for something else down the road and of less impact on everyone. But
I get a tendency to think we spend a lot of money on things new things that come out, just because they're new.
Yeah.
And the old ones, maybe they're not as good as some of the new ones, but they still work.
Yep.
And
Agreed.
That, to me, that's wrong to do that.
Yep.
I mean, I was always,
Everything that we buy goes through the budget process, through the budget committee and the commissioners. And it goes before me, before it goes to you guys, and it's fully vetted, and we don't buy it unless it's gone through the budgetary process. Once it's through the budgetary process, that's like, okay, it's okay to buy it. If you don't agree with what we're doing,
When we're getting the budget and we're going through it, if I was to pull out the budget, it would not say, okay, we need $3,500 in hose. Okay, is that, why do we need it? Okay, well, we need it because of this. The explanation, if I had this explanation during the budget thing, it would have been brought up in the same
It does say
fashion.
$3,500 in hose.
But it doesn't say the reason why we're spending that. We are now, instead of replacing hose, we're supplementing hose because we still have that hose sitting here. It's not like the hose broke and we're testing and all that stuff and we had to get rid of it. We are supplementing our surplus of hose here rather than replacing. I don't agree with it. I think it's money being wasted. So,
All right.
that's the end of my report.
yeah.
At the end of the package, there is we went over the PowerPoint program, and you guys, the commissioners requested some changes in some of the slides. So if you want to turn to that, we can go over that. First page is the fund balances, and this is what it will look like, unless you want me to change anything, but this is what it is right now.
I think 517 should be there.
I think we need to show at the last meeting, we had 627.
Yeah.
And then I think we need to show line by line what came out, so that when someone sees that we have 315, how did we get there?
Okay, so,
Because you just listed off a bunch of stuff earlier.
Right.
And
That
I
was
think,
perfect, because I wrote it down and okay, now I have a start
yeah, well,
and an end.
now they can see, okay, well, it's, that there's, whatever that money was, 200,000,
Right,
is really not gone, but we're earmarking it because the auditor said we have to do this.
right.
It's not, we don't have a choice.
It's a
And
contingency.
it's a contingency.
And I like having that there.
so
It's
I'll
in case-
develop a slide that describes that.
I
I
think
think that would be great.
I just think we,
Sorry. I was gonna say, Chief, were you thinking of just creating an individual slide for the unassigned fund balance?
It'll be,
I
like,
didn't know if it was always
probably,
in the same.
because
page.
it'll be right after this.
I think what's gonna happen is they're gonna see this slide, people that know, And they're gonna be like, well, wait a minute,
Yeah.
And then the next slide, I'll show how it got to that.
what happened to $300,000?
I think that's a great idea.
What happened to $300,000?
It's too busy to make it into here, so.
Yeah, I can't squeeze
No, you
any more
can't.
into this one.
No, I think that's a good idea, by having it broken down like that, then you know that there's gonna be those questions coming up, so by having that information in front of the question, it's like, and here it is. Oh, okay.
Well, I just,
Yeah,
All right,
because when you
That's
explained
easy
it, that
enough.
really helped when I was writing it down, so seeing it very similar made a difference.
that's easy enough. The next slide, Commissioner Pyra asked if we could show how the simultaneous incidents look. And so the call volume is the, I guess, gold bar, and the simultaneous incidents are the red bars. So, the next slide, broke down into two different slides. These are incident locations. And then the next slide, which this slide had the difference between Tilton and Northfield. And then, but we broke that down into a separate slide to show the volume, the percentage differences between Tilton and Northfield.
that's 686. Going back.
Yeah, 686 incidents in Northfield, 1,114 incidents in Tilton.
Can you possibly make that text a little bit bigger? It might not be visible. The one at the bottom,
Yeah.
on that one?
I'll try.
Just a little bit bigger for the people seeing back a little bit. They may not be able to see that. I mean, you're probably going to speak and say what the numbers are, but for them to, if possible.
I'll give it a shot.
I think Tilton over, or I think more like Tilton, Northfield.
Over there.
It's gonna happen. They see that, it's gonna happen.
So the next slide is taking alternating years, escalating up to the present, to last year, showing what the revenues in the red bars, the transports are the gold line, and then the trends are in the dotted lines that correspond. And this is about as good as I can get this slide. I've worked on it quite an awful lot to try and make it easier to see, but I can't find a place where you can make the dots bigger and things like that.
Now, out of curiosity, have you experimented with this with a power projector at all yet?
No, this
You
is
might-
just on a
You
screen.
might want to just, even in the station, putting it onto a wall just to see the projection quality of it, because the monitor, we can see it very well, but you might need everything in the wash of the.
So
Where's the meeting? It's at the high
it's
school.
at the high school in the cafetorium. That projector is pretty good, and I noticed that anything I make PowerPoint-wise comes out pretty good there.
It's gonna be in the caf, not the gym.
The cafeteria.
Okay, so that'll be actually,
Yeah.
it's a little smaller space.
It's just experiment with it on a PowerPoint
Yeah,
projector.
have someone
because-
sitting back underneath the far basketball net looking. So,
So going back to this, I know the commissioners asked me to
Yeah.
get a map that shows that.
try.
So I have a request in with the mapping division of 911, which certainly can do that. We're near the bottom of the list, and I put the request in a long time, and I talked to them again today, and we're far away. So I tried to do something on my own. It's not very professional quality, so.
So-
It's
Number one, they're just gonna
it's funny
be,
looking.
they're just generating the footprint. No, that's not too bad.
Oh, it's bad when you look at
Okay.
it. Compared to what I'm trying to present, it doesn't,
That actually looks pretty.
It actually looks pretty good.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, is the squiggly line the river? Here?
yes, the middle,
Okay.
this is the river.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, this is Tilton and this is Northfield,
Yeah.
and this is how the calls are broken out, east
That's
and
right.
west, and then the village district.
Actually,
That's not bad.
That's not bad, really, that's not.
From this distance, chief, it doesn't look that bad.
No.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it here and I says, it looks like crap, because
No.
you can't,
Well,
It's-
you
it
can't
gives me
see
the-
like Shaker Road, or you can't even see
you-
Main Street.
Right, it's gonna be hard.
93 is this line here.
But remember, when people see it, they're not gonna be able to be up that close, and the projector, you're gonna get a little bit of wash.
Actually,
If you
that's
could make that a little bit larger on the screen and
This is
maybe,
as big as it's gonna get.
oh,
Let me see.
That's as big as I can make it and still fit on the slide, because you're importing a picture. I tried to do it as a PDF, didn't work very well.
you can't crop down to the size you want, and then, so as a
So you have to
technique.
take a map of, like New Hampshire,
Yeah,
and you crop it down so it fits on,
yeah,
like kind of like a piece of paper.
yeah,
You turn that into a JPEG,
yeah,
Is that
and then you
those
have to
boundaries
import it into a PowerPoint slide.
yeah,
The PowerPoint slide says it can only get this big.
right,
And then, so I cropped it. If I cropped it any more, then you're
right,
gonna start
because it's a
losing.
rectangle, you have to get.
Yeah, if I could
Parallel.
rotate it so that,
Parallel.
what I
Parallel,
want to
yes.
do is rotate this line this way,
Yeah.
which would rotate this thing, and I could make it a little bit bigger, but I can't.
What is
It's
this?
only gonna go
There's a
this
little
way,
pond I saw.
this way.
Is this Knowles Pond right here?
Yes.
So
This gives me a visual.
you get the 80% solution there.
I think it's better.
Yeah. An offer. That's the right word, I think, yeah. If you want to send it to me, I can play with the picture a little bit. I've got some experience with the digital
Oh,
version.
okay. The slide, the PowerPoint slide?
If you send me that PowerPoint slide, I'll see if I can get you an expanded image, cropped down to just what it is, to expand it to the max of your slide.
Yeah, so the.
I'll see what I can do to help with it.
You can see the lines of the
Yep.
slide.
Yep, if you send it to me, I'll see what I can manipulate with it. I've done some stuff with that, it's an offer for you,
All right.
and I'll send it back to you and see what we can do, but no, you've done good with that. I like that a lot better than that.
Okay. Took me almost all day.
Well, you did good.
Off and on.
That's
You did good.
it kind of gives a better visual.
It does, it's a lot better.
Because when you're reading the pie chart,
This is the pie chart in map
but
version.
it's
Right,
good, but
exactly.
it gives you the yellow, it gives you the, I mean, the colors don't matter, but it gives you exactly the
Yeah.
geographic region, so I
I
can
mean-
visualize it.
When we're done with the map portion, if it looks good, I mean, if you want, I'm not opposed to you keeping the pie chart in there for the people who are geographically challenged and have that, where you do,
Well, I think the pie chart and then this would be the following slide.
right, yep, so that they can see what it kind of relates to. I think that, yes, that's what we were kind of looking for.
All right. Okay, and that's everything I have for tonight.
All right. Now it's the chief's report.
Okay, old business, yeah.
Old business, Tnfd 2021 Fire Station Building Committee.
Alrighty, so, the first thing that we were bringing to you was already handled in the initial part with the Lisa Martin joining the committee. So, Chicago, the week of May, there is a fire station planning committee out there. The chief brought the information, or a seminar, or
Seminar.
yeah, the seminar out there. Chief brought the information to the planning committee and some of the material that they've had in the past. And the committee would like to see what the commissioners think of sending 1 to 3 committee members. Pros and cons of this. Pros, you're getting some experience base to it. You're getting some of the stuff that REI would have brought to the table of knowing the experience. You're getting to meet with people in the trade of kind of doing what he does, but now you're getting a convention type training of how to do that yourself. cons of it is with some cost money. That's a hesitant feature, definitely. Probably cost would probably be about $1,500 per person. Pros to this is you're bringing some more credibility to the committee for the information rather than people with their little tidbits of information and not be the right thing. So it's making sure that we get the right bang for the buck.
And where's this on?
It's in Chicago. 4 days, I think, 3 days.
You fly in on a Tuesday night, I think.
It was like,
You attend class on Wednesday and Thursday.
And then you fly back Thursday night.
Fly out Thursday night or Friday morning. I don't have the calendar in front of me how it worked out, but there are so many good classes that I think educationally wise for the committee members to learn about, site work stuff, foundation stuff, what should go in a fire station, how to build a durable fire station, how to make it more efficient cost-wise. So many classes that they could split up and attend and gather a huge amount of education and knowledge and what it takes to have a successful fire station project. And I think this would be more, and I wouldn't look at it as a cost, I would look at it as an investment and being able to bring possibly savings into the program rather than, it's a $4,000 or $5,000 expense.
Well, still $4,000 or $5,000.
I agree.
Yeah, but I think you can reward that, get that in return in the education and helping that education provide you with the most appropriate fire station for the fire district. So not chasing something that's going to be
Right.
bad.
My biggest fear is, we're talking major fire stations. We're not talking,
No, this
it
is,
sounds to me like these are big Los Angeles and places like that.
They do top and high and low end. I looked at some of the seminar material while we were doing it, so it's talking about the right land placement of where to do it. So it's not just big, hey, we got a blank check and go for it. It's cost-effective station building and things like that. When I was looking at the PowerPoint, when I was looking at the conference
agenda.
thank you. My biggest concern is the cost of sending people, the availability, unfortunately, of certain people. That's another hard part, so it's kind of limited on who can go. If they can go or not, I mean, whether you send one person and they bring back the material, or the cost was the biggest thing that concerns me, and who do you send? Because your chair can't go, Kevin Waldron really can't, his schedule wasn't there. I mean, Lisa,
He said he would go.
he said if he could fit it in. One of the things they suggested is that you have a career firefighter on there. Having him on there would be beneficial because 10 years from now, when you're looking at building the other station, hopefully he's still around to give that knowledge base to it, because otherwise, if someone from the public or from the committee goes, it's that one and done, unless they're going to be around in 10 years to help out 10, 15 years with the next step. So that's a one and done, even though it's...
I was going to say, we already have two
sorry.
career people that have already gone to it. We have
Okay.
Tim Eames and the chief, so they've already both gone to it. The
Okay.
symposiums.
The thing is, 10 years from now, if that's what you're looking at, things may be totally different. You may have to redo it all over,
Right.
do another educational
Right.
I
component.
think Tim went 5 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
Eames.
To me.
Captain
Tim
Ames.
Eames.
And he was on the original committee, but he's not on this one. He didn't want to be, or I'm not sure of the details. Otherwise, it would be great having him on there with that information.
And the chief's been to him too.
I guess we'd have to, I think if you have two people go, I think it would be ideal only because you could, let's say at 9 o'clock on Wednesday morning, there's two great seminars, you can both go, I'm pointing at you, one
Yeah,
could go
no.
one go the other, and, you know,
I think the difference, the only difference, it's not like a big convention where you have this
No.
or that.
yeah.
It's more the breakouts where that would be benefit, because you can actually pay like $35 additional to have a breakout with an expert, and, okay, here's what we have for Northfield. It's a kind of stir us in the right direction kind of thing to get you going on it. From what I was looking at, it doesn't look like there's a lot, but two people will get two different perspectives, so I agree with you. I just
Well,
hesitant. But the committee, there is pros and cons to it. I mean, I think when, I didn't put down the vote, but I think everyone was in favor of it. I'm reluctantly in favor. I mean, part of it is the cost. I see that.
I think
It is an investment, and I do agree with you on that. That is an investment, but it's a transparency to the public, and you're spending money to go out there to have fun. And
it's hardly fun.
I know, but some naysayers may say, hey, yeah, you're just going out to do, that wouldn't be the
they're gonna
intent.
say that to
I know,
anything you do,
I know, but it's the court of public opinion, and that's part of where my concern is it's money putting out there. The people that were available, Kevin wasn't sure he'd be available, Tim Ames wasn't, Kevin Kate can't,
It came down to.
Lisa, hopefully Derek, or myself.
I mean, Derek,
He's the career,
oh,
because Matt couldn't either, of the current members.
well, you kinda have to buy tickets sooner than later.
Yeah, it's,
Well,
Maybe you have to register,
it's
I'm sure
in,
that-
it's in May, so
but I'm sure there's a
kind
early
of have to
bird.
make the decision tonight if you're gonna do it, I think.
So the station committee recommended it, but the money, obviously, and the other question on that is to validate that it could come from that $100,000 fund that you set up for design fees and all that, whether or not this meets that intent. That was the only other question that we were bringing in.
That's a good question.
Right. Making
But
sure
I
that
would-
it meets the writing.
I would,
Mhm.
I would say, by first glance, it would, because it's for the purpose of, it's not like you're going to, a show about fire engines. We're going to a conference about building fire
Engineering,
stations,
Yep,
engineering, whatever. They're gonna have case studies
yep.
of, small town America, or, large cities. I think they're gonna cover.
They cover the gamut,
Yeah,
everything from
I think it's a good
site
idea.
selection to.
Cost.
Costs, they go over how to cost a fire station. They go over how
Cost
you
analysis,
can.
square feeting, and
Yeah, they go.
required spaces, the big thing to come from this is the new requirements. Like, okay, you're supposed to have, we were talking the last time about negative pressure for the gear room. Is that a requirement, which it very well most likely is, or is a recommendation, as long as it's not in the dorm space? But it could,
There's a class in there on what codes do you really need to follow.
right,
There's a
exactly.
whole class on ADA requirements.
Yep.
There's a whole class on,
That's a hot topic.
it is
But,
actually.
but I'm just saying with our bathroom.
Yep.
There's a class on whether, where's the break-even point between 1 story and 2 stories.
Yep.
Some sites, I don't think, if we're using the Park Street land, I don't see where that would be a problem for us, that
Right.
we should be able to keep everything on 1 floor. But if for some reason you had to move to another location somewhere and your site
Square
restricted to
footage.
square footage, then you might have, like when we
Right.
did the Tilton School property, that was a 2-story thing because of the site. There's more classes in there than I can think of. Cancer prevention within the fire station, segregating spaces, hot zones.
Was it
cold
O'Hare
zones.
or Midway?
I think it's O'Hare.
My problem with this, if the station don't get approved,
That's
we
more wasted
send,
money.
we send 2 people out there. Now, 2 years from now, they're not on the committee anymore, so,
Flying in the 23rd, fly out the 26th.
Fly
Fly in the evening of the 23rd.
So Monday.
Yeah,
I thought
they
you said
adhere, you
Tuesday.
get there that night, and then you get up
Yeah.
and go the next 2 days, and when it's done, you get the heck out of there.
Sorry, I don't mean to tell you. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, sorry. The money, with people going, you don't spend it, then it's,
well, what I mean by that there, say 2 years from now. Say we send Lisa 2 years, she's not gonna be on the committee anymore.
Right.
It's just like Tim Ames, he went, he's not on the committee. So that money is pretty much wasted,
Well, yeah.
that is a con.
yeah.
But
Unless
I
that
think-
person's around
I
next
think
time.
it does bring a legitimacy to whatever proposal you bring, is that we sent these folks to be educated in this and to bring the most appropriate plan forward. We just don't have a bunch of people who slapped a couple houses together maybe, and that type of, this is more detailed and pointed and specific education towards fire stations. The fire station's not a house. It's not even close to being a house. The construction required in a fire station is entirely different than a house or a garage, because it's a legacy building too. Is it something that you want to look at? It's something that the public wants to look at too. You don't want something really ugly that you want to look at. You want to see what's the best way to make it aesthetically pleasing, but still keep it, viable financially.
All right. So Monday night, there's airfare out of Manchester. Oh, just changed. Damn it. Wow. Hold on.
We were estimating about 1,500.
We're gonna do some math right now. So flying out Manchester to Chicago O'Hare, because I think that's where they're.
I think it was.
So flying out.
May 24th to the 26th, so yes, fly in on the 23rd, fly out the 26th.
It's 2 people.
It's actually Rosemont, Illinois.
Yes,
Okay.
which is like,
Isn't
Well,
that,
I'd
isn't
say
that where the Bulls
probably
play,
like
Rosemont?
when I walked outside, the airplanes are landing right here.
So there's a flight out of Manchester at 6:05, arrives in O'Hare at 10:20, one stop in BWI. I'm
Really?
just doing Southwest.
Yeah, but,
They fly direct into Midway, not O'Hare.
okay, then why wouldn't you, if you were gonna do this math,
should
why
do
wouldn't you
Delta.
fly direct, fly Delta
Well,
directly into that one there?
It's because that's the only app I have on my phone.
Okay.
So it's 98, I'm just giving you airfare, $98.
Round trip?
No, one way.
Yep,
One
so
way.
200.
Yeah, so we're gonna select that flight.
Conference costs, just,
Okay, so that's 196 for
Yeah.
one person.
Yeah.
Well, 2 people, one way.
Yeah. And then flying back on Thursday, the airfares, depending on what time you flight, are $242 or $250.
Do the 250, so that's 500.
That's $1235.
Okay. So that comes up to 696 plus,
I have a Delta Rapid here.
Round trip.
yeah,
Yeah, you
for
do a round
2
trip.
people round trip.
How much?
696 for 2 people round trip.
So now,
You on which one, Delta or
I
something?
did Southwest.
Southwest.
Southwest?
Yeah, that's,
Wait a second. Book,
and Thursday you were done by 1 o'clock,
round trip.
just to give you that options in there.
well, that was a 12:50 flight, so that was middle of the day, so you'd have to take. that back.
Sessions,
What did you say, Rosemont? There it is.
Rosemont, Illinois, yes.
So you check in on 23rd, you check out on 26th.
I'm trying to pull up the registration.
It's, fly out the 23rd? Is that what everybody's working on?
Yes,
Flight, Yeah.
23rd and returning on the 26th?
yes.
How much is the hotel what's the hotel that it's at?
I don't know.
It's at the Crown Plaza Hotel in Rosemont, Illinois.
Is the cost of the room included with the tuition?
I don't know, the tuition was not nearly high enough to cover that, I don't think.
Yeah, the hotel's $199 a night per person.
Okay.
All right, so find out, anyone have Google Maps?
Because you gotta rent a car,
No,
no?
no, take a taxi there.
Yeah.
Oh,
But if anyone has
Uber.
if anyone has Google Maps, just find out where that hotel is.
They had a shuttle bus from the airport to the hotel. It's literally a 7-minute ride.
Well, I get that. But from what we work for a hotel chain.
There you are.
So,
Okay. Purple dot is Rose, is the,
oh, the Crown Plaza?
and you see the runways?
Oh my God.
Like I said, you hear, if you get on the wrong side of the hotel, that's what you hear.
So,
You were literally right at the runway, so no, you
so
don't.
can you zoom in just to see if there's like hotel, like see if there's Marriott hotels?
Something nearby, or,
Well, Marriott's, they have to be Marriott's.
oh my God.
Just follow along, play the game.
He gets a discount.
He gets it.
It can't be for business. So you're there to relax and listen to airport noise.
Not seeing other hotels nearby.
But there's,
I don't know what ORD is.
ORD is the airport code for, here.
Okay.
MDW is Midway. MHT is Manchester, BOS.
I knew that one.
NCO is.
There's a Hilton,
Sorry,
it's okay.
I'm really weird.
there's a Hilton a short distance, probably double the distance away.
Walkable,
So that's the Crown Plaza, so yeah, the Hilton is right near it, it's 2 blocks up from it. No, I don't have a,
What's the,
that's the only 2 that are that close for hotel.
What's the name of the hotel? The Holiday Inn?
Huh? The one I just said is the Hilton Rosemont at Chicago. So you're flying into Chicago O'Hare.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not sure if it was Midway or O'Hare. So what are you trying to exercise for time? What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to see if there's a Marriott close by, and I can get you a rate cheaper.
Oh, okay. There's a Hyatt Regency. No, there is not. No. There's nothing within that area, 'cause not without starting to throw in transportation and things like that.
Orders, whatever.
Right, and you don't want to do that. You'd rather, every penny you can save. And right in that area, there is a few restaurants to
Oh, wait,
choose from.
Chicago Marriott Suites, the Westin. They're not, oh, they're across the interstate.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot of off-chain names. So, but we kind of figured it out to be roughly about $1,500 per person.
Well, the 696 total, was that 2 people flying?
That was 2 people.
That's
flying.
not terrible. Let's just say, how many nights was that? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? So that's 3 nights. So
Yes.
600?
Yes.
that's 600, that's 1,200.
Yeah.
So right there,
1,800.
you're
For 2
1800
people.
for 2 people. Then what do you do for meal allowance? How much do you give for per diem?
You could brown bag it.
Yeah.
I pay for it myself.
When I do those things, I
Oh, that's not terrible cost, $1,800, just for that part, plus you have the admission cost, I don't know what that is, but.
I had it and I'm having trouble pulling it up right now.
I'm thinking, was it $399 or $4?
It was in the 4s, it wasn't, because I didn't,
Per person?
per person, I think.
I guess you have the 2,500.
Yeah,
Yeah, so you're getting,
Because you're 1,900, that's $2,300.
right,
yeah, so
and then
you're
you still
about
have to have
3,000
meals.
for 2 people. So about 1,500 is what we kind of came out to it.
Yeah.
I mean, the price was under 600. 'cause
It's
I
fair,
really-
it's a fair number, I'm not,
There's mixed feelings to it, I mean, obviously. Because not having anyone, I mean, the chief, and we had two big developments come out of that, it's throwing some other viewpoints into the equation.
So what were the suggestions? Lisa?
Lisa, myself, I'm very reluctant. As a commissioner, I'm very uncomfortable with it because of how the taxpayers might view that. So I'd rather be a last resort than
Actually,
anything.
no offense, if you win election next week, you're on for the next 3 years. So actually, you're almost a guarantee. Where
I know. It's the visual of it, and that's where I have some heartburn going on it.
No, I understand that and I respect that, but the other side of that says, okay, well, you're a lock for 3 years unless,
Right.
you know, I mean, nothing's guaranteed. I'm not, you know, I'm not wishing ill will against you, but,
Yeah,
you
there
know.
could be 1,000 write-ins.
Well, no, but like, no, but at least, you know, Lisa could decide, okay, you know what, next year I've had enough of the snow, I'm a full-time snowbird and I'm
Right.
off to Florida.
Yeah, I'm still up in this area for a while.
You know, I don't anticipate you leaving
Yeah. But
When do you need to know?
tonight, that sounds like.
I think you guys should make a vote tonight, because if you wait till next month, that's April and the thing's in May.
Well, I think
And getting
airfare is.
airfares closer.
Well, they say
might
Tuesday's the
cost-
best day that we can buy your airfare.
That's today.
Yeah.
you're not gonna buy this today, but they keep an eye on that type of thing.
Well, Southwest, I only go by
The
Southwest.
only problem is, before you even buy airfare, is you need to lock in who's going.
Well, that's
Yeah,
it.
because you have to put the names on the tickets.
Right. So the question was, Derek wasn't at the last meeting to see if he could. My schedule is open enough to do it, and I've talked to my wife, and it's a flexibility that if I had to do it, I can take the vacation time and do it.
Well, let me ask this question. If you send a career firefighter
Yeah.
to cover their shift while they're out there, you're gonna have to incur overtime
Potentially, yes.
Well, it
Yes.
depends
on schedule.
on schedule.
Theoretically, if we send them, we have to pay them.
We're paying them overtime.
We're
anyway.
paying them overtime,
Yeah.
one way or the other.
Right, but
That's
now,
There's another cost.
Okay.
well, I'm just saying, okay, are we gonna have to pay them overtime for them to attend, because it's working?
One way or the other,
And then
there'll
the
be
coverage.
overtime involved, either paying the firefighter that goes or paying the firefighter that covers if it's,
So
on that day,
my
you know,
inclination
one
would be
day.
to stay away from the career
Okay.
firefighters, just because of the overtime cost, unless I knew how much that cost was.
Okay.
So my idea would be a not to exceed price and see how we can, number one, because we have to come up with a budget. I think that's the first thing,
Mhm.
and I think,
Yeah.
based on our rough math, I would, at some point in a motion, I would put $3,000 as a not to exceed price.
From the $100,000.
From the
design
$100,000,
station,
the design.
just from the pot as
Yeah,
well,
from that,
which is already set aside.
that would be the first part of my motion.
Yeah.
If I were to make a motion at this point, but I don't, again, the who, what, why, where, when.
Right.
Um,
So the other thing is, you would have to hear from whether Kevin Waldron can go, or if Lisa can go, or if you want to send both of them, I mean, that's an option too. I'm not opposed to it, I think I would pull a lot from it,
yeah.
but I'm worried about the repercussions from the public. That's my biggest nightmare with, I think there's a lot,
who's gonna?
just with the voters and stuff like that, oh, the commissioners are spending money, spending money on a trip. I could just see the backlash of that, and I'm very,
We've spent more money than that on Tilton School,
I know,
John Mansville,
I know.
and
we haven't even gotten into all
three
that.
times as much.
I know, I'm super frugal, you've seen that.
I understand.
That's why where the heartburn is. I think that I would be able to pull a lot of information from this and bring a lot of information back. I don't come from, I come from old electrical, but the code side of things, I'm a novice at them compared to you guys, but really dive into those things and look at
Okay, got it. No,
Oh, okay. Yeah,
sorry.
I'm not opposed to that. I mean, it's just figuring out who you're sending. You have your rough amount, you have your time period of who can make it, and they have to kind of commit early so that you can.
Well, they have to commit tomorrow.
Well, you may not be able to get a hold of Lisa by tomorrow. You're gonna tell Lisa tomorrow, hey, yeah, you were accepted. Hey, by the way,
Well,
the next committee member meeting, or the station committee meeting, because
here's a question. If you buy a ticket, can you change your name?
it's hard.
A name, damn near impossible.
Yeah, you're kind of buying for it. I mean, who knows, I might be able to get enough points off my in-laws. I'll try every penny I can save.
It's 9th, right?
Yes, so next Wednesday is when we meet. So an option for the commissioners to do is, if they're in favor of doing it, set the plan in place, and the who, get the station committee to determine the who on the 9th, which is a week from now. It's still not too far down the road, but let them come up with who they think the best representative to send 2 people.
Well, I'm gonna tell you my feelings. My feelings is, I think you're probably right. It's a good thing to go. I know the money is gonna be, there might be a problem there. However, if we're gonna get something out of it, or learn something out of it, it's better to do that. And number 2, I prefer you going, number 1, and whoever, I don't care, they can pick the other person. And the reason because you are a fire commissioner.
Okay.
And there again, you're gonna be here for the next, hopefully, the next 3 years. So you ain't gonna run off, it ain't gonna be, you're gonna be down in Florida or anyplace else. So
Okay. They were kind of in favor of that too.
I don't care.
When they were talking about schedules, I looked at mine and said, oh crap.
I don't care. You know, they can pick whoever they want. I mean, there's only Kevin or Lisa, I guess, that's it.
Or, well, yeah, because you're kind of cautious about Derek,
Derek, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
because of the old time to cover that, okay?
I would think even if someone leaves, not that they want to really leave, after a year or so, they still bring that exposure to the committee.
They're gonna have that
And sharing that
knowledge for the
information
year.
with them.
Yeah.
I know it's still not the same as having that person that actually attended there, but some of that stuff is.
They're gonna bring
getting
back
along.
handouts, and they're gonna.
Oh, yeah.
They're gonna
Every
be,
handout, every
they're gonna give
media they
websites.
allow, notes, everything will. Okay. And that's kind of what I think. I think,
what are you doing in May?
Huh?
What are you doing in May? Maybe 2 commissioners go.
I'm going to North
and
Carolina.
I don't think that's,
No, I don't think
I
that's.
think
good
that
idea.
would be a very,
Yeah.
that would be the
I think it'd
political.
be a slap in the face to the building committee.
No.
Yes.
Not only that, but that would constitute a meeting,
Well,
because you
The
have
whole
to,
time.
the whole time.
No, you can only talk about sports.
Right,
So-
but still, you know, it wouldn't look good.
Or carpet,
Yeah.
because that's what you do.
Yeah, no.
I would be in much favor, not bad English, of John going. Number 1, because I appreciate his,
Frugality.
not frugality, no, it has nothing to do with frugality. The way you study things, the knowledge, like, you're gonna go and you're gonna.
Commit to it.
You're gonna go, you're the type of guy who's gonna grab every brochure he can, everything he's gonna get, and you're gonna absorb it all, and you're gonna,
Or bring it back.
Or bring it back.
To absorb it.
yeah. And I
Yeah.
think that is ideal.
So I'll make a motion that we send 2 people to the committee, to the
Conference.
2002 fire station, or 2022 fire station conference in Rosemont, Illinois. Not to exceed, do you want to set it at the 3,000, or do you want to wait till we get the tickets all that and say not to exceed 3,200?
I would say 3,000.
Okay.
What
And-
about meal tickets?
Well,
Well,
you're gonna,
Are they gonna be on their own, or are you gonna,
no, I think we give them per diem, per day
well,
of, or a set amount. I
Mhm.
mean, because the cost of everything's gone up.
Right.
Breakfast is gonna be $20 a person. Anyone writing this down? Breakfast is $20 a person. If you don't stay at a hotel, hold on, $20.
It's on the tape,
20 times 2, so that's 40.
40.
That's not why I go to the supermarket my first night in, and I pull yogurts and things like that.
You may not be a supermarket nearby, so, that's when you go down to the buffet
Yes.
and ask for a
Usually lunch is included with the,
I don't,
with the conference, usually. But I'm not 100% sure.
Well, that's where not sure how airline tickets and all that, I would say no, not to exceed 3,200. That gives you that little bit of buffer, and then you can figure out your meal costs and all that up to that. And the commissioners can figure that out at a later point.
all right, here
You
we
have
go.
a cap to at least
Yeah.
get the motion moving.
Here we go. Breakfast for attendees and exhibitors. All right, cross that off.
Oh, you got into the website?
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, hold on. Just looking. It says lunch and exhibit area. Sounds like it's not included, because the other way it said breakfast for.
You know dinner's not included.
Well, that's what I'm getting to. I haven't gotten to
I
dinner
want to know
yet.
it's not, because I was there.
Okay, you have that, just.
So, break with exhibitors, that's at 3. I have no idea what day of the week this is. Let's grab it. Welcome reception from 5. Oh, that's the first night you might get dinner free. But I think you still got to include dinner.
2 nights.
I think
3 nights.
for the time efficiency, I think just go to 3,000,
Yeah.
3, whichever way you want to do it, but I think just to move it, because there's some other things from the station committee too, they're brief ones, but.
The other thing is that at the end, if it costs a little bit more, the commissioners can vote to say, let's cover these expenses.
True.
At a different meeting. But
This is at least moves it to the next level of getting, figuring out who it is, and then you can really do a breakdown itinerary to get a very solid planned budget.
Well, there again, like I said, I have faith in you that you're not gonna, go to some fancy club or anything like that
Not going to
and spend,
casino.
a couple $100 a night. I mean,
You don't have an expense report. Entertainment, what the heck is that? Yeah, I mean, if we could, I'd almost say, I don't know if we can somehow, but get the ticket for John at least right away.
You want to make sure you get them on the same plane and all that.
Yeah.
By waiting a week, I mean, yes, it will go up a little, but it may, that's a major hub for a few airlines, so.
Yeah, it is.
So by it being a major hub, even if you went with a different one,
Yeah.
so up to 3,000.
so you made a motion to not exceed over,
That's where the question I was just throwing out there. I'm fine with 3,000. I mean, it's would be a little. That just we may have to make an amendment later. So
Yeah.
do the 3,000 for now, and if there's a
Gives
question,
us a
then we
base
can
to
adjust
start.
it.
It gives us a base to start
Yeah.
with.
Yes.
and that's your motion.
Yep.
And I'll second it.
Motion a second. Any other discussion on the amount?
No.
On the motion, sorry.
There's going to be lots of discussions coming, but not tonight.
Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Abstentions?
Okay, now we have to make a motion to,
The vote.
oh yeah,
We just did.
He just
Okay.
said the aye,
Okay.
aye, aye,
Good.
and then he went through the other two.
That's right, okay.
Okay,
We're
Kathy.
throwing you off
Okay,
tonight.
Tape recorder's right there.
Yeah.
So we have an amount, $3,000. I'll make a motion that we recommend John Silly to represent the fire commissioners at this conference, with another person to be determined by the
So
station.
fire commissioner represented to the committee and one additional person.
Yes,
Okay.
to
and
be
I'll second-
determined.
And I'll second that.
Should
No.
No.
Okay.
okay,
Okay. Because my
I'll
name's
second
in
it for
Got it.
discussion. I'll second it for
Because
discussion.
my name's in it. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
No, that's fine. Trust me.
Okay, for discussion, I'll second it. So we've determined, there's only 2 other people that are gonna, 2 Okay.
people
Two
total.
people
That's-
total.
I just want,
Including the commission.
I just want to make sure it's either Lisa or Kevin.
Are you leaving it to the commissioners?
I'm
or-
going to leave it to you guys. We've already said we don't want a firefighter to go because of the overtime. I just don't want that to come back. It's,
Okay. When the committee meets, then I can express that concern.
okay.
Look, I understand.
I don't care who goes. I just don't want to pay the overtime there and pay them the time and a half and everything
Okay.
there.
I understand your
Because
concerns.
now
I'll make sure-
we're talking another probably $3 or $4 grand.
I will bring your concerns to the next week's meeting of that.
Okay,
I fully understand what your intent of that is.
okay. That's all I,
And you're gonna get the name back from whoever it is, and if it's an issue, then you can definitely, hey, putting this on pause till we have a meeting or something. But as soon as we have the meeting next week, you'll have a name come out of it for,
Okay, good.
And if we have an emergency meeting to finalize something.
something just didn't go right, then, yep, I think that's a fair way of handling it.
okay. I'm fine with that then.
Okay, any other discussion?
Not on this one.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
All right.
Aye. I can vote in favor.
I don't think it's in good luck, I don't. good-
Abstain.
I'll abstain,
Yeah,
okay, that's
yeah.
fair, yep,
I would say opposed,
okay,
abstentions,
abstain, okay,
thank you.
I understand, okay.
Motion passes
2 to 1.
two in the favor, 1 abstention.
There you go. Yeah.
By John Silly,
Yes.
Yeah, I
for the
understand.
record.
Yep.
Got that, Beth? All
Okay,
right.
the next thing for the station committee.
Wait, there's more.
No, just, this is the easy part.
Can't be much more difficult than that.
All right. The third thing that's coming out of that station committee is that a member is going to reach out to a few people from the Tilton Police Department interview committee because we're trying to work on building up the interview questions and process. There's 5 companies that are being brought back. So before our meeting next week, I got to catch up with 2 members of the public and yourself. You were on the interview committee for the police station bidders, were you?
Yes, but I think it was actually I think it was a combination of the committee and the Board of Selectmen.
Okay. We want people who have been through the experience a little bit more fresh of how the questions and how you want. One of us want to sit down with you and go over some of the lessons learned rather than reinventing the lessons ourselves. So I just got to try and catch up with you sometime before the night.
Sure.
And it's in regards to, for the public to know, it's in regards to the interview questions used for the Tilton Police Department to be as part of the process for the fire station request for proposal process.
I want to say, and I could be wrong because I might be confusing my committees, but what they did is we came up with a list of questions, but they're the same question for every
Yes,
person.
that's what we're looking to do, but that's what we're going to,
So
give us the list of your
what's
questions.
what's your
and stuff,
favorite
because that
color?
will-
What's your favorite color? What's
Yes.
your favorite color?
And that's how the station committee is planning to do it all, but you may have some questions
Yeah.
in there that we
Yeah,
haven't thought, so we're trying to get that material to bring into the process.
I will.
And then we were also going to reach out to Kevin Drew and Kevin LaChapelle as a couple of other people that might have been involved in that.
Jeff Drew, Kevin LaChapelle, Tom Damon.
Okay.
I can't think of his name. Dame? Ken is his last name, first name Ken.
Kevin Dane?
No, Kevin, Tom Damon was one, and then Dame, I think, was the other guy's last name, but I can't think of his first
Okay,
name.
well,
off the top of
I have till Wednesday, so 4 people I'll take, 3 people I'll take.
my- Yeah.
I don't need the full.
Pat Constantino was on there, and then the other. So all the members of the police department that were on the committee are no longer employed by the town of Tilton. So,
But yeah, so I have a
one's
couple of
employed
names.
by the town of Plymouth. So
Well, I'll catch up with you and I'll reach out to the other 2, just so that that's what we're trying to do, is bring to this is lessons learned, questions and things like that.
sure,
So, okay, that's all from the fire station committee.
that's it. Is there any other, moving on to new business, as we've covered the old business, is there
There's
any?
no new business.
Wait, well, I
Okay.
have, Tim, do you want
Oh.
to talk about the training burn on?
Oh, right, that's right.
17th?
Sure, so after the training run that we had 2 weeks ago, we were approached by the developers and the contractors to burn the remaining 3 buildings that were on the site. And initially, I don't think they really understood what it included and what was going to be left for them. And after seeing that there wasn't really anything left for them to remove, they decided what a great opportunity for both parties. So I informed them that we were no longer willing to burn the big house by Route 3. If we were going to do all of them at one time, that's one thing. We would have had traffic control. It would have been one day out of the weekend that we would kind of interfere with people's lives in that area. So I said we'd be willing to do the house that's kind of set back, which used to be the office, and then there's like a little shed they use for like a recreation room. And so I reviewed that building. I think it would be a great opportunity for us. So we determined with the contractor that the 17th, St. Patrick's Day, would be probably the best day. We're going to start at 9 o'clock, minimizing any issues with the residents. Everybody will be at work already. We'll be done and out of there by 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the afternoon before the commute home after work. And right now we have Tilton Northfield, Franklin, Belmont, and Samberton invited to participate. So, and I think there's probably going to be like a total of 10 to 12 burn rooms in there. So I think it'll be some really, really good training for our department as well as other area departments.
Is, what about traffic control?
So I don't think we're going to need, I'm going to talk to the Tilton PD. I'm going to see if we can get their signboard out there as well, just to let people know
Training in
that
progress.
there'll be training coming out on this date. I don't think we're going to have issues with traffic control. It's pretty far back, so.
Well, it's not as far back as the last one.
It's definitely not as far back as the last one, that is for sure.
The only people that knew that anything was burning was across the lake.
Yes,
So,
but I don't believe that is going to be an issue, but I'll have that conversation with Abe from Tilton PD just to make sure that we're on the same page, and if we need to do something, we'll make arrangements.
I just wanted to commend you on the other training burn that you did on that site. It was great to,
Yeah,
I got to observe it. Seeing everyone in action was really good. And it was probably really hot because
Got
you
warm.
could feel that heat.
It did get warm.
It was wild. So, thank you.
No, thanks for coming. It was great to have you there. So.
So I have some pictures, and I'm gonna try and put them in a slideshow or something like that, so everybody can
Yeah.
see it.
Excellent. Thank you.
And I was just going to ask, just for selfish reasons, but someone took a picture of my dog, and I just wondered.
Emily?
Yeah, and I just was wondering if I could get that picture.
So she sent us the link with all of her pictures
Yeah.
that she took. So I'm
If
sure.
you could have sent it, because she said something about letting it, because my dog actually posed for a picture, and I thought it was pretty cool.
I can send you a picture of the dog that I met as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's fine. Well, not when they were fighting,
No.
so. They got into a little tiff.
No, that was good.
It was very good.
I would never have found it if a firefighter hadn't used the porta potty.
Yeah, really.
It was, I was up by the road looking around for you, and I saw someone come out and start walking down the trail. I'm like,
Logistically, it was.
must be where it is, and
Way
he just
down,
kept
it's way
going.
down.
It was very, very challenging.
I know where it is, I've been
It
down
was
there.
good.
Yeah, it was.
It
This
was
one
really-
hopefully won't be as challenging.
It was
Better
It
access.
was warm. It was actually just kind of cool to see, like, okay, the metal roof can really burn.
Yes.
And then just the way the fire transferred over to the barn, that was really kind of cool. Spontaneous combustion. All right.
thank you, Tim.
Very welcome.
Thank you, thank you
Yes.
very much. And thank you to the state fire marshal for
Yes.
coming, and the fire academy for use of a pumper truck, I believe it was.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a very, I saw that down there, and it's like, I would have hated for you to try and get an engine down there.
Let's tell you.
And
that was a
whoever
great
had to go ice
resource.
fishing.
Might have broken a rhododendron or something coming in.
Yeah, those are, I'd like to see those in the spring.
I've got a plan on that.
And whoever had to go ice fishing. and drove
That'd be
there.
Deputy Robinson.
Yeah, holy cow. All right, moving on to review the minutes. Well, we have a lot to review. February 1st
A while ago.
and 22nd. I reviewed
What do
them.
we do?
I read them all.
I'll make a motion, we accept the minutes of February 1st, 2022 as written.
I'll second it.
Motion second. All those in favor,
Aye.
Aye.
say aye. Aye. Opposed? None. Abstentions? None. Motion passes. Minutes of February 8th, 2022.
I'll make a motion, we accept the minutes February 8th, 2022 as written.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Abstentions? None. Motion passes. Minutes of February 22nd, 2022.
I'll make a motion, we accept the minutes February 22nd, 2022 as written.
I'll second them just to give John a break. Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Motion passes. Abstentions? Sorry. None. Motion passes. Does this mean we have to go to non-public? Because the way you have it written, it sounds like I have to,
Well, that's,
just so we can just,
well, it's up to you guys.
this is to review the minutes.
It's just a review,
Non-public.
and
If you want to discuss it
Well,
all.
if you
have
want
to
to
discuss,
discuss it,
yeah.
you have to.
Right.
But if you don't need to discuss it, you don't.
Right.
You do not have to.
We can just read these in silence.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You can.
Please take a few moments to read the non-public. What was this one for? Look. All right.
Okay, that's what I was looking for. Okay, yeah, I'm good with them the way they are.
We have to unseal them or seal them?
Oh.
No, wait, this was, it doesn't say if they were sealed or not, because that means that we
If
didn't.
One
it
was-
doesn't say that they were sealed, then they were not.
One should have been.
One does say that it was sealed,
Correct.
and if you want to continue to seal that, you need to go into non-public to review it,
Which
come
one
out and
was the
seal it.
seal?
Middle one.
Was it really? Oh, I'd like to keep that.
That should be,
Yeah.
So,
That should
another
be
option we
okay,
could do
right?
is we could leave that for now and table that one to come back to when we have to come back for a manifest meeting. And then we could seal it that way, and we could just table that one for now. It would stay in the status it's in because it's not approved. And then we could approve the other two that are non-sealed.
right,
And then you
You
still
can
don't have
do
to go
that.
to non-public.
All right,
So I'm gonna make a motion that we table the, oh, they're all February 8th.
right.
Um,
But you can go by the,
Minutes 1 or 2.
It would
Session
be-
1 or session 2.
Identify the ones that we do want to use.
correct.
Yep.
all right.
Wait a minute, the February 22nd one?
No.
Is that the one you wanted to, oh,
So, yeah, no.
the other one.
So one of the February 8th, so it would actually be session 1 of February 8th
Okay,
and February 22nd are the two that, or I'll make a motion to accept them as written.
All right, and I'll second that. Any discussion? No, there's no discussion, because otherwise it requires a public session.
Right.
All right,
right.
so all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? None. Abstentions? None.
Then I'll make a motion to table February 8th non-public session 2 minutes until their next meeting.
I'll second it.
Okay,
Okay.
that works.
All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Opposed? None. Abstentions? None. Motion passed.
So that's a clean way of doing it for tonight.
Yes, it is.
Okay, and then we'll get these back to you.
All right.
Goody, goody.
Do that.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, that's done.
And then fast we.
Other business to come before this commission
Let's
tonight.
see. tabled, too.
Yeah, the one that's at
Yes.
17.
Yep.
All right. Other business, sign the manifests. Most of us did. We didn't. Our next meeting is scheduled for April 5th,
Next monthly meeting.
next
Next
monthly
monthly
meeting.
meeting,
And
now.
then- Hold on. And then we actually have a district meeting, which will be at Winnisquam High School on
The 14th,
March 14th.
March 14th at 7 p.m.
correct.
7 p.m.
Now, let me bring up the calendar here, okay?
I did speak to the facilities director about the lighting, and he said that's not going to be an issue.
Excellent.
Oh, good.
Are we gonna bring some candles?
Oh, I would like to bring up May.
Okay, hold on just a second. I want to talk about March before we're done,
Okay.
before we go to May.
Mm.
Are we going to have a meeting after district meeting that week to finalize everything that went on at district meeting?
You want? Oh, so like on the 15th.
Yeah,
Did we do? We've done that in the past, right?
right.
Make it on the 15th.
I can.
I can.
What days in
The Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's a Tuesday.
I just checked.
You're on vacation, aren't you?
No, it's the following week. The chief is on vacation.
Okay, so next week.
Would you have time enough to make any adjustments that need to be signed from the night prior? If they did a warrant article change or something like that, that we would have to sign, would that be enough time to get it drafted?
There really wouldn't be anything that
Okay.
you would have to sign.
Okay.
I mean, because it would be in the minutes. It would be done on the floor, this, you
Okay.
know.
I just didn't know if anything was changed or actioned, if that gave enough
Yeah,
paperwork time before the
Just-
commissioners.
yeah, you just ratify it and that way,
Okay.
yeah,
So we meet. So we're done until district meeting,
yes,
and then.
You are. I'm station committee.
right.
Right, well, then on the 15th, we also have a meeting now. We're gonna
Yes.
have our meeting.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
What time?
Standard 5:30?
5:30. This district, school district isn't until the 19th.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Correct.
All right.
The town meeting is the 12th.
Yeah, gotta get line them all up.
Okay, so you were okay with April 5th for the next commission monthly meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute.
That's why I asked.
Yeah, you just got me because I didn't put it on there. I am not here the 15th.
You are not here the
No.
15th? All right,
I'm not.
That week or that day?
The 15th and 16th, I'm in Massachusetts for my quarterly meetings.
okay.
Sorry.
I would push it off till the 22nd then.
But the
because-
chief isn't here,
Oh, shit.
right?
I'm not here.
But
Okay.
I
But
don't know if
do-
I need to
that,
be
you
here.
don't need to be for
Yeah,
that,
okay.
because you're just ratifying.
Yeah. So can we do that the 22nd? I'm sorry.
All right, so you want that on the
You
22nd?
good with that?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm just,
I'm
I
gonna
am,
be in Florida.
I'm in
Jealous.
Wareham, Mass, wherever that is.
I'm not jealous.
It's near the Cape.
Yeah, it is.
Not
Well,
quite, it's near Plymouth.
I'm
Before you
staying,
get to Plymouth.
I'm staying at Roxborough Renaissance Place. Because they weren't providing routes for us, so I'm not driving down and back in the same day.
Yeah,
It's a lot of driving. I'm getting too old.
okay, and then you said you were okay with you don't have anything going on April 5th?
Nope. I've got it on my
Okay.
calendar right now. And then,
And then you were talking about May?
May 10th, I'm not in town.
Okay.
I'll be in Florida.
Well, do you want to meet, the 3rd is a Tuesday, the first Tuesday in May?
Well, don't we normally at the first meeting after election, we go over the whole calendar?
Yeah,
Yeah.
which would be,
Yeah, let's just do that. We'll pencil it in for now, at least we have it.
okay. And you'll, at the next meeting?
Because then in June I have another meeting that I have to go to.
All right, we'll cover that. If-
I'll
if
be
the-
gone in May too.
You are?
Yeah,
When you gonna
probably
be
last
gone?
week. On the 20, I think it's around the 20 something, whatever day that is. 20th.
All right, so this is Memorial Day,
I think it's right in here,
this week here?
yeah.
All right,
Well, that would be the week that, they, is the conference,
that's right.
so that doesn't matter,
Okay, so,
as long as you guys are on
I'm
the
not
same
100%
way.
sure, but I think I'm leaving from North
But
Carolina.
that'd be weird that you wind up on the
are
same
you,
place.
are you going to be gone a week, or you?
A week, no, I'll be gone a week.
All right, so I'm gonna mark you off as gone.
Yeah.
Vacation, huh?
You're talking in May?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for Commissioner Ozier. All right, I've got you on vacation that week.
And you said May 10th for May, just as a,
And Eric is out of town. Is it just that day, Eric, or
Which day?
May 10th?
I'm gone that whole week, 7th to the 14th.
Oh,
so not May 10th then. I missed that part.
May 7th to May 14th, I am,
are you on vacation?
yes.
Wow.
Yeah. A real
Okay.
vacation. Like, I have to get on a big old airplane.
All right, so I've got those 2 weeks marked off.
Okay.
Okay?
Get in on a big old jet airliner, as they say.
Okay. You're gonna send me that slide
Yep. I have the
digitally?
notes.
Yep. And then I'll get work on that, so what I can do to just amplify it a little bit. You did a good start to it, so I'll just see, I've got a few cropping things that I've done in the past, and I might not be able to do anything, but if I can even get a little bit more. Yep.
All set. I'm gonna make a motion. I'll make a motion, we adjourn at 7:26.
I'll second the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? None. We are adjourned at 7:26. Have a nice day.
I still kept them in 2 hours.
Just hit stop.
Yes.
Yeah, the red button.